Well, hello, hello, hello. It is October 25th, 2024. Welcome to today's episode of Game on Edmonton. I am Graham Mosman, going to get you all set for tonight's matchup against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're going to dive into lineups, some injury news, the big story that seems to be following the Oilers right now, and a potential blast from the past that could genuinely help the Oilers, especially on the offensive side of the puck. Also, I hate to do it. We got to talk about Broberg and Holloway. Before all that, though, I want to tell you about the flagship podcast here on the Game Over Network. It's called Hyperdrive Hockey, hosted by Max Staffney and their producer Kevin, who every Tuesday and Friday. So we'll have a new episode of that show coming out today over on the Game Over main channel. You can get a whole big dose of hockey goodness from a decidedly different perspective than you'll be used to. It's a great show. It's very silly. Max is not subtle with some of the takes, but they're fair and they're well reasoned. So give that show a listen when you have a sec over on your favorite podcasting app. So as we get set for tonight's game, your Edmonton Oilers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the return of one Jesse Puljujarvi. The Bison King is back in town for the Pens. He's kind of one of the only bright spots for the Pens this far. As they, although have won one game more than the Oilers, they sit at 3-4-1 on the season. Oilers 2-4-1. Puck drop for that one is going to be at 7 o'clock. Now, if you want to talk about goaltending, Tristan Jarry has been sent back to Pittsburgh. He is not even with this team, so he's working out there with the goalie coach. We are going to potentially see Alex Nedeljkovic end up getting one of his first starts of the season for the Penguins tonight. The lineups will probably come out officially more closer to that 7 o'clock game time. But if you want to talk about which direction these two teams are heading, the Oilers are at the point where they should be getting pretty desperate, even though their underlying numbers are very good. Like the expected goals for number is dramatically higher than what we're actually getting. So at some point, the worm is going to turn on this team, and the puck is going to start going into the net. That is the biggest thing that is ailing them at the moment. It is real frustrating to see players like Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg having absolutely incredible starts over in St. Louis. There's a not low number of all Oilers that have left that could it gets stings to see them go right now. Warren Fogle has 3 goals on the season with Los Angeles Kings. Philip Broberg, who is just all over the NHL social media feed right now, because oh boy, do people like seeing the fact that the Oilers were not doing great. As the NHL feed is all over Broberg, as he has 7 points on the season. Connor McDavid only has 8. So those are totally sustainable, right? That's totally fine. Dylan Holloway jumping in to help out with some scoring as well. I mean, I said to amongst my pals when that whole thing happened that especially when you have a team that is so light on defense, losing Philip Broberg is going to suck. And who's to say he would have gotten the same opportunity here that he is getting in St. Louis? I mean, if he was here, he'd probably be playing alongside Darnell Nurse on that second pairing and wouldn't be getting any power play time. So who's to say if he would be putting up similar point numbers? But it definitely does sting to say that you let that player walk, and the players you brought in to replace them in Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson from just like the offensive side of the puck haven't quite panned out yet like you'd hope to. Also kind of stings that Ryan McLeod is doing just awesome, has a couple goals in the season for the Buffalo Sabres, but again, he's also playing dramatically higher up in the lineup than he would have been, and we still haven't had a chance to see what Savoy can do as he is down in the AHL at the moment. If the Oilers are looking for a little bit more offensive help, and especially on the right-hand side of the puck, there is someone on waivers today. He is just a little guy, but his cap hit league minimum at $775 as the Utah Hockey Club has sent down to the Tucson Roadrunners 26-year-old standing at 5'8", 152 pounds, Kyler Yamamoto, a one-time Oilers first-round pick. He's sitting there. It's only $775. The Oilers have $1 million and change in cap space right now, so you could feasibly add him to the roster without having to change anything. Now, if you really wanted to move someone down, potentially like a Corey Perry, who has been not awesome this season so far, I could see it, because the Oilers, especially in the bottom six, are looking a little slow. And if there's one thing Yams was able to do, is bring in some speed. So a waiver wire pickup is never going to save your season. There's a reason these players are on waivers. But if the Oilers want a cheap flyer to take on someone, hard pressed not to think about Yams might not be a bad person to take a chance on. So if we are going to dive into lineups tonight, the Oilers, these are just the projected lineups based on what we had in practice yesterday. Connor McDavid, flanked by Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Leon Draisaitl alongside Victor Arvidsson and Vasily Podkolzin. Interesting. Jeff Skinner with Adam Henrique and Connor Brown. And Matthias Janmark, Derek Ryan, and Corey Perry. Over on defense, you have the number one pairing of Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard. Darnell Nurse alongside Troy Stetcher. And a third pairing, please give this one some run, Ray, Chris Knobloch, because when they're on the ice, good things tend to happen. Our third pairing of Brett Kulak and Ty Emberson. I have no idea why they scratched Emberson last game. He probably shouldn't have been. Had some foibles, but you can see the defensive ability in his game is absolutely there. Looks like Jeff Skinner will take the pipes. Stuart Skinner, the other Skinner, taking the pipes for the Oilers. We will have post-game coverage with Austin here on the Game Over Edmonton channel immediately after the game is over tonight. So plan for that to be at about, we'll say 10:15 or so. And then when the Oilers take on the Red Wings on Sunday, I will have your Game On Edmonton once that game is all wrapped up. A couple other small notes we may have missed this week. The Oilers did sign one of their very, very latest selections. Sam O'Reilly got an entry-level contract. He was our first-round pick at the 2024 draft this year. Remember when we traded up right at the end of the first round to get in there? That's the draft with Sam O'Reilly, and he's doing well so far in some early games with the London Knights. Already 2 goals and 3 assists on the season. So that is it. That is all. That'll wrap us up here for this October 25th edition of Game on Edmonton. If you liked this show, please give us a like. If you loved it, please subscribe and send it to a friend. We'd love to be in front of as many eyes and ears as we possibly can as a little fledgling media company, but we can't do that without your help. So if you like any of the content you've seen on this show or any of the incredible shows all across the Game Over network, please, the biggest thing you can do is give us a review and share it and help us juice that algorithm to get into a few more spaces than we already are. Have yourself an absolutely wonderful weekend. We will talk again on Monday here on Game on Edmonton.